I'm going to do a quick reflection, and then I'm going to let Pam speak, and we'll save time for questions. And then we'll go through our sort of regular housekeeping stuff after that. So let me share my page.
Hi, Pam.
So we'll watch this short video, and then we'll center down after that.
Happy Monday, everyone. This is Martha with Nature Niche, and in keeping with past New Year's traditions, I will read you some inspiring nature poetry to kick off this new year. This is the poem Nature by Henry David Thoreau. O nature, I do not aspire to be the highest in thy choir, to be a meteor in the sky, or comet that may range on high, only a zephyr that may blow among the reeds by the river low. Give me thy most privy place, where to run my airy race. In some withdrawn unpublic mead, let me sigh upon a reed, or in the woods with leafy din, whisper the still evening in. Some still work give me to do, only be it near to you. For I'd rather be thy child, a pupil in the forest wild, than be the king of men elsewhere, and most sovereign slave of care. To have one moment of thy dawn, then share the city's year forlorn. I hope that you have a very happy, healthy, joyous 2023, and that you get to be out in nature. May that be visiting a new beautiful place, or just getting to spend some quiet time in your own backyard and making some fun, maybe unexpected observations. Take care and have a good week.
Okay, let's center down for a couple of minutes, and then we'll continue. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I want to introduce, I'm so happy that Pam Ferguson, pastor at Winchester Friends Meeting. Thank you, Dinah, for introducing us. Pam has successfully had solar, as I understand it, installed on their meeting house. And I think she has also worked with Faith in Place and other organizations like that. So she's going to talk to us about what that process was like. I also mentioned how, last year I was just trying to get an energy audit so we kind of have a baseline of where we're at. And that didn't work out. So she's going to tell us about her journey with that. So thank you again, Pam, so much for taking your time today to speak to us. And I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you. And thank you for accommodating my schedule. I said I was in Wilmington, at Wilmington College in Ohio. My husband's speaking at another place, and so we're trying to tag team on this. So thank you so much. I'm going to be sharing some photos, but I just wanted to tell you quickly that it was in 2010 that we first started applying for solar panels. And at that time, We were also applying for a historical marker on our meeting house. This year in 2023, we are now 150 years old as a meeting. And one of the things that I kept saying, you know, we're going to recognize our history, but the fact is we want to be around for another 150 years. And part of that means being sustainable economically and also energy wise. And so that was kind of the reason for looking back and looking forward and applying for a solar energy grant. We actually applied for a grant in 2015 for the meeting house with Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light, and they were the ones who gave us our first $24,000 grant to put up solar on our meeting house. And so I will go ahead and share some files with you really quick. This is a picture of our meeting house in downtown Winchester. Winchester is very small. We are in the middle of town, and as you can see, we're just a block from the courthouse. So very, very small area, but that is where we are. And this is a picture of just recently in the snow. Okay. One of the first things that we did before we even applied for a solar grant was to do an energy audit. And they actually found that we started with the parsonage, which is right close to the church. And the parsonage needed a lot of help. You will see that there's some foam around here where they went to the basement of our house and went through the whole place and found what they call air chaseways and closed off all of the places where warm air was getting out. And so that is why and then they put a lot of insulation in our attic. Just closing up the air chaseways in both the church and in the house made a difference of quite a bit. This is a picture of the house next door to the church, where 6 feet is between the two. We also did put stucco on the house, which decreased our gas bill by about at least a third. So I'm really thankful for that. We had a south-facing roof on the annex of the church. And it's even though the roof is steep, it was south facing and 45 degrees. And we felt like that was the perfect place for solar panels. And so this is the beginning of the solar panel project. We actually put up 32 solar panels in January of 2016, and Third Sun out of Athens, Ohio, were the ones who put that up. Very good people to work with. We also, shortly after that, these solar panels decreased our electric usage by 2/3. And it was such an incredible savings. And of course, since it was a grant, it meant that we had that much free electricity, which was just nothing but a gift. After that, we were, right as we were doing this, we were in the middle of doing a project for the food pantry in our community. We built a brand new food pantry, and this is hanging in the food pantry, and it says, "Seek the shalom of the city in which you live, for when shalom pervades our community, everyone flourishes." The word shalom in Hebrew usually is translated as peace. In its meaning, it is actually much broader and deeper and denotes wholeness and fullness of well-being, without which peace is impossible. That is kind of why we worked on a food pantry, why we do solar, is that we really do want to improve our community. This is inside our energy efficient food pantry in Winchester. And as you can see, we have large walk-in freezers and walk-in coolers, and they are in the process of, we felt that we were spending probably $400 a month on energy. And that was one of the reasons that we thought that we would be very, we needed to make that go away because we would rather be spending money on food and not energy. So one of the things that we did when we built this food pantry was to make sure that we blew in lots of fiber. And also we put we have a cement floor with, this is the, with PEX tubing in it that we circulate hot water. So our energy, our heating bill for the winter is about $80 for this 40 by 40 building. And the fiber, because it is so well insulated in the roof or in the attic, that we just hardly use any electricity or any heat for that. We also, on the inside walls, this is insulation that we put in. It is actually ground up blue jean material that we use to insulate the walls inside the pantry. This is a picture of the 48 by 48 pantry that we use. We put in the first solar panels that we put in at the pantry were about 26 panels, and it reduced our electricity by 2/3. And that was excellent, which we were so thrilled with. And that system cost us $19,000. We had a interest-free loan to put it up, and so that was why we did it. This is a picture of the backyard of our parsonage and the church, and this is the first solar panel system that we put in. And then this is the second solar panel system that we put in. This one was $24,000, and it's a 32 panels. And this new system that we just put in October of this past year cost us $34,000, $10,000 more, but it is a larger system that is producing more electricity. And so currently, and that's the last of my photos. Currently, both the pantry and the church use absolutely no electricity from the grid. And so even though we spent a total of $43,000 at the pantry and about $58,000 at the church, from this point on, we only have to pay a connection fee. At the pantry, because it has just one phase of electricity, the connection fee is about $30. And at the church, we have two phases, and we also have off-peak, on-peak billing. And our main connection fee is $46. The savings doesn't necessarily come in our monthly bills, because I think we were paying, our highest bill in the church was about $350, and that's for air conditioning during the summer. And so, we're not saving a huge amount on a monthly basis, but at the food pantry, I think it was pretty close to $400 with all of the refrigeration that we run. The savings for us comes from high rates of them bumping up electricity costs from every year. It seems like every year they are charging more and more for electricity. So that is what we feel like probably 10 years down the road, we will be saving more and more and more money. When we first did our solar panels, we had a seminar that a man came and said, anything you put into solar now, you see as an investment, because it will save you from what you do on down the road. And we have seen this true, and we are so thankful for the opportunity to have solar. I don't know, I'm convinced that this is the best way to go for the future. So I am open to any questions that you guys have. The one thing I do want to say is that we have a church right across the street from us, a Presbyterian church, that they have a lot of money, but they don't have any money for a pastor. They have some legacy money, and the money says you can spend whatever you want on the building, but you can't use it to pay a pastor. Well, they've had a part-time pastor, and right now they're kind of doing lay ministry and maybe have a pastor come in once a month. Beautiful building that they keep upgrading and doing lots of fancy things to it, but they don't have any money to pay a pastor, and so they're not growing. They have maybe 20 people, and I keep telling them, you know, if you're going to be investing money in that building, you need to be investing money in solar systems. You know, they said, well, our roof isn't perfect. And I said, yeah, but you know, you could put a solar, you could put a structure up on your parking lot that has solar on top of it. And that saves you guys money. You will not have to be paying an electric bill. And that means you can be funneling more money into a pastor to help keep the church viable for the next years to come. So that's always been my mantra. And we want to make sure that our building is sustainable for the future. And so that's why we've invested in solar. So I'm open to any questions at this point.
I'll go first. First of all, I want to say, Anita, I noticed in some of those pictures a compost bin and some rain barrels and fun stuff like that.
I sure did too. Yep.
Anita started some work with a pollinator garden on our meeting house last year.
Yeah.
So you said that, you know, currently you don't require any electricity from the grid. Is that year round, like even during the gray, gloomy winter?
Oh, we do not have any batteries at the church or the pantry. So every bit of solar that is produced goes into the grid. And AEP keeps track of it. And actually, I keep track of it too, because I don't trust AEP. I keep track of what we're sending to the grid every month. And that actually, if we produce more than we use, then it becomes a credit. And so in the wintertime, when we're not producing so much electricity, they are drawing down that credit. And that happens both with the meeting house and with the pantry.
Okay.
Wow.
Another question I had, and then I'll let others speak. Are there, like, do you need to have the panels cleaned once a year or something like that?
No, we were talking about that with the Michael Lorem from Lorem Electrical was the one who put up the panels, and we said, you know, we're putting these panels on a 45-degree angle roof. Nobody wants to go up there. It's pretty scary. And he said, you know, the fact that it was such a steep slope meant that any snow that comes on goes off quickly. And that essentially cleans the solar panels. But we have had no problems. There have been a few really gray months and cold months at the pantry. It doesn't have quite the slope that the church does, where there was some snow on the solar panels. What they say is that it doesn't, in the middle of winter, it doesn't reduce that much. It doesn't save you that much to crawl up there and scoop off the snow. So it is just better to leave it like it is and let it go naturally. And after, well, it's been 6 years, it seems like that's the best way to deal with that stuff.
All right, I'll let some other people jump in.
Well, to me, the real big question is the funding. You know, I guess a couple of things is sort of the, you know, agreement, you know, by all of the congregation, and then also the funding. Can you kind of review quickly? I wrote down that you had initially received a 24,000 grant from Hipple, but I guess too, how does that work? And then can you just kind of quickly review some of the other funding and how that worked? I did make a note that you had the 19,000 interest-free loan, right, for the food pantry. So yeah, if you could kind of go through that and maybe speak just to a little bit to the sense of the meeting too.
Okay. We, of course, we, I've been the one that's been kind of focused on the solar from the very beginning. And I applied for this Hippo grant, And part of the agreement of the grant is that, and it was a Sierra Club, the AEP had violated some laws, and they were fined a large amount of money, and they put that money in the Sierra Club, and the Sierra Club made it available specifically for faith institutions. And so there were probably maybe 10 or 12 churches in all of Indiana that applied for this grant, and the most that you could apply for was $24,000. So I just went ahead and applied for $24,000, and then they helped me negotiate with Third Son in Athens, Ohio, to put up as many solar panels as we could get on the church at that time. So the only agreement that we had to do, we didn't have to add any money to this, but we as a congregation were asked to reduce the electricity, the energy use of our homes by a third.
Oh,
And so I had 2/3 of the homes in our meeting agree to try to find ways to reduce their electrical and energy consumption by a third. It was a great thing, and really we reported it and met together and tried to help each other figure out the ways to do it. But one of the ways that we did it, and also to decrease the electrical or the energy usage at the church. We did that through installing lights, through all of that insulation that we did, not losing heated air out of our place. So there are lots of things that you can do, and Hippel or Faith in Place have a lot of really good ideas of how best to make your buildings energy efficient. And it just takes a lot of work to do it. And but it was also good for our faith community, because people were more conscious of their own energy usage through this whole thing. So and we reported at the end of the year, at the end of 2016, when we got those solar panels, we reported to Hippel, and they were happy with what we did, and they did a case study. And the only ongoing thing I have with them is I keep track of our energy usage at the church on a website called, I'm not sure what it is, but we put our gas use and our electric use and the solar kilowatts that we produce on a website, and kind of keep track of it that way. So I, in the process of doing all of this for the church and for the pantry, I spend a lot of time collecting all of the data, 10 years worth of records, what our highest usage was and what our lowest usage was, and keeping track of how we use our energy. And that stuff is reflected on this website. So that's the only thing. Once we did the first solar panel stuff, it became pretty obvious to everybody that this was a great deal. And so the church had access to some legacy money. And so we were the ones who loaned the food pantry the money to put the first bank of solar into the food pantry. It was $19,000, and and we worked it out so that they were just repaying us what they would have paid in electrical usage. Well, the pantry is doing really well financially, and so and at the beginning of the pandemic, we went ahead and just paid off that loan. I'm also on the food pantry board, so that's why so and then we did get a grant from the Rotary Club for the second for half of the second panel that we put up on the food pantry. So it was a $24,000 array that we put up on the food pantry the second time, and 12,000 came from the Rotary, and again 12,000 came from the pantry. We felt like that was the best investment that we could do for the pantry for the long term. So and then once we got the electric bill down at the pantry down to the bare minimum, we tackled the church and said, we need to do that at the church. And the church just came up with the money. They said, this is an investment in the future. We are just going to pay the money to get it done.
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Well, that's how committed we are to solar. So
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. What can I ask one more question, and
Yeah.
then I promise I'll stop.
Mhm.
You were talking about gathering the data on the energy usage for the last like 10 years or whatever. How do you do that? Did you mean like it wouldn't have been ongoing? So how do you find that sort of
back bills. I looked at all of the back bills for the food pantry. Of course, the food pantry was just built in 2014, so that was fairly simple. And
okay.
then but for the church, I just went back through all of the old bills. But we receive all of the current bills now on the internet, and so I just log on to AEP and get the current bills.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question. How much actual money did the church save in gas and electric? Putting on your various improvements?
Yeah, we're only saving about $350 a month at the church for electricity. We did put in a new boiler. We have, as you saw the pictures, we have a very old meeting house. It's 125 years old. And we saved, we reduced our heating bill by about a quarter just by insulating it really well and stopping all of the cold air from coming in at the bottom and going out the top of the roof. So we saved a quarter of that. But our gas bills in the winter are still about $800 to $1,000 a month because of that old building. And so we saved some by insulation, and but what we're going to do now that we have free electricity, we're going to find some alternative ways to get some electrical heat into the church so that we're not using gas to heat. And so that is our next task is doing that. But so, yeah, we basically save $350 a month by.
Which really isn't a lot considering all
Not.
the money that was put into the solar panel.
No, you're right. But
the other improvements.
Yes. And so we reduced that. But the fact is that we do not know what electricity costs in 10 years will be. And we believe that that's where the savings will come in, is 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. That's where our savings will come in.
Well, and I would add maybe, I mean, you're saving 350 because that's what you were spending on electricity.
Right,
So
right.
it's all a wash. At
Right.
Fairfield, and someone who knows better than me, I mean, we don't have gas, right? We're all electric, aren't we?
That's what I was gonna suggest. For our meeting house, that would be much more impactful because I think we're heating via electricity. So
our
heating and cooling. Yeah.
actually greater.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right.
So it something for us to investigate. But
Yeah.
as far as I know, we're 100% electric.
Mhm.
Our current meeting house is 10 years old. 12
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a 2012. Mhm.
And my guess is that it's probably already insulated well. But it does not hurt for somebody to come in and look at that to make sure.
Yeah.
Insulation is the best thing that you can do to keep cool air there or hot air there.
I wanted to ask too. So you mentioned, I'm still a little confused. So does Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light still exist?
It's Faith in Place.
It is Faith in Place now. So.
From what I understand, Indiana joined Illinois and they're together and became Faith in Place.
Okay.
That's how it seemed last year when I reached out. I was familiar with Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light. There was actually someone who was very involved with them that went to a church my wife and I used to attend.
Okay.
So I was reaching out to them and wasn't getting anywhere. And then I found Faith in Place and
Yeah,
messaged
they're
them.
the same thing. I do want to say that I think that there will be grants coming up in the future, and Faith in Place is really good about letting people know about the grants. Also, I looked a little bit at USDA, the Department of Agriculture, for solar grants for the pantry. Because so there are grants out there. You have to have somebody who knows what they're doing to write the grants and to look for them. I'm a nobody, and it was just, we all laughed to think that I actually wrote a grant and got one from Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light, because it was just a fluke, but it
I
really
bet not.
was. But I am so passionate about this that I'll try anything. So
That brings up a point too. So as part of the Inflation Reduction Act, we should theoretically have potential for more grants, right?
Exactly. And from what I understood, I did attend that first meeting. It was a Zoom meeting about it, and because Indiana will be allotted a certain amount of money for solar, I think, and it sounded like they would not pay for anything that has been done yet, but they will pay for something going forward. And so trying to figure out the timing of all of that will be important.
Okay, that's good. Good to know.
Yeah.
So we could do some work to get our ducks in a row and then
Be ready to go.
Now, one thing that I found was a matching grant in Indiana for nonprofits of up to 15,000 matched dollar for dollar. It doesn't have to be for energy, but like that could be for a natural landscaping, for example.
That would be a great thing. Anything you can get saves you money.
The negative of that is that means our meeting has got to come up with a 15 to match it.
Yeah, but I don't know for our meeting, we have our trustees have just been on board 100% with this, because it is about the long-term sustainability of the building, and that's an important thing, and a long-term sustainability of our earth. Those are right. Those are two things that people care about. And
another question. One thing that we noticed in our meeting here is we do not have dishwashers. So we use a lot of paper plates. Do you use recyclable dishes at your meeting? Do you have dishwashers? Because that would be low-hanging fruit for us.
Yes. We have a dishwasher and and use regular plates. And once in a while, when there isn't a huge amount of people, then maybe we'll pull out paper plates. But we've gone to just using real plates and
we have done that, but then it's a little bit of a hard sell, because what it requires for us is just hand washing, so you got to have the people willing to do it. And, sometimes that's not a small feat when you have, the whole meeting participating in a pitch-in or something. So
just a good example is I've probably done in this last week, I've done probably 5 dishwasher loads of dishes at the church, because we had a memorial service last Sunday. But it means a lot for people to have regular stuff to eat off of, and it's worth it in the long run. We just have a regular dishwasher. We did not go with a commercial one. And I think that was a very wise idea. It's much easier to do 5 loads of dishes than it is to operate a commercial dishwasher.
Yeah, commercial. We were part of Evanston meeting in Evanston, Illinois, and the commercial dishwasher was $6,000.
Yeah,
washed the load in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
but a dishwasher did an hour.
Yeah, but it also did.
Right.
Yeah, but it required several more people and several more steps to use a commercial dishwasher. So There is something nice about putting them in there and forgetting it for an hour. Mm.
Yeah, I still don't know why. I think Diana, you told us before. I still don't know why they didn't put a dishwasher in when that kitchen was built.
They decided that since we were not doing the smorgasbord like it used to, or originally the smorgasbord, that we didn't generate a lot of dishes, and that we decided it's when Phyllis Gladden was helping out with all of that, and they all decided that we didn't need that. But the other thing too is back when I was a kid, when we had a pitch in, everybody brought their own dishes and you took them back home in your basket with your food. And we tried that we did that at Fairfield for a short time when we around the time that we said that we asked people to stop bringing styrofoam and that type of thing. And so for a while, and I think that people just kind of forgot about it, but for a while it was like, you know, if you could bring your own dishes, and we still had some paper plates out for those who didn't. But it's just something that people have to get used to.
I kind of like that idea.
Is it Evanston?
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to think, Scott, I'm trying to think where it's at. Someplace where I go, the Quaker meeting, and it's they use all tablecloths, and they use
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So no
regular
paper
dishes,
used at all. No
regular
paper
silverware,
napkins,
regular glasses.
real silverware, real glasses, real
Yeah, I
dishes.
think it's, yeah.
I mean, we
Mhm.
have lots of dishes at our meeting house and silverware,
Right.
lots of stuff. It's just the cleaning up thing. So
Yeah,
I don't
but like,
know.
how easy or how hard would it be to put in an $800 residential
I
dishwasher?
understand it's the piping was already in by the sink over by the.
Yeah.
Over,
I think it is. Yeah.
Yes, it
according
is.
to Ann, the sink the plumbing is already in. You just have to take out a couple cabinets and put it one or two dishwashers in, since the rest of the kitchen seems to have double of everything. We may want to put double in, or at least start with a dishwasher.
Well, first, I want to be aware of Pam's time because she's
That's
like
okay.
some
I just want to say, if you do a dishwasher, I'm kind of sold on the Bosch dishwashers because they don't use heat.
Wow.
They will sanitize the dishes without the heat, and that again is one of those things that I think is an energy saving. So
Yeah, we've seen it at Bosch and it's beautiful.
They're very
Yeah.
nice.
and they clean well. So
Huh, good to know. Yeah.
So actually, I'm kind of concerned when I see people just clean our coffee cups up on Sunday morning, and they don't do a really good job. You know, I'm not sure that we're really getting clean dishes.
You know what's gonna happen, Scott? You're gonna
What?
get to wash them.
Yes, Bosch.
I don't wash dishes well, so
in,
I
in
can't
this,
use a dishwasher.
in this day
I
and
can't
age,
use a dishwasher.
in this day and age, that's an important thing to pay attention to. Yeah.
Well, friends, do we have any last questions for Pam before we let her?
One other question, we considered solar on our roof. We decided against it because our roof is fairly old. How old was your roof when you put on your solar?
Good question. It was 15 years old it was a new roof at the food pantry. At the church, it was a 15-year-old roof when we put it in 2016. And that's when we decided to put on the second panels this last summer. We decided that we needed to put a new roof on first. So we actually had to pay a little bit less. And so that $4,000 of that cost of the solar panels this last time was removing the solar panels and putting on we put on a new roof, which was a separate cost.
Yeah.
And then they came back and put the old solar panels back up, and then the new
Yeah.
thing.
See, our roof is now 10 years old. I don't know what the useful life of it is, but we're in an awkward position. It doesn't really need replacing.
Yeah.
But it's going to need replacing before a new roof, way before a new roof.
Well, and again, we decided at the church that we probably had another 10 years on the roof, but in 10 years, it's going to cost a whole lot more to put the roof on. So we decided, let's go ahead and bite the bullet now, even though the roof was good. Let's bite the bullet now and put on a new roof and have it done. And we went from a shingled roof to a standing seam roof. And standing seam roofs are easier to put solar panels up on. So that's
I have one little question.
just
How
my
many members
experience.
how many active members do you have in your meeting, not knowing that much about it?
Yeah, I would say probably around, well, probably about 60 households. So, you know, our
100 people or something like that?
our Sunday mornings are anywhere from 60 to 80 people.
Okay, all right, that gives
And
me that.
and right now we are only we've only had 3 Sundays in the last since the pandemic began, when we had more people in the meeting house than we had on Zoom. So right now we have about 30 people in the meeting house and about 40 on Zoom every Sunday. So we're not using our building like we should.
Okay, all right, that gives a background. Thank you.
Good question.
Well, Pam, I just want to thank you again for taking time to speak to us. This has been
Thank you.
really informative.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'm happy to come back anytime. So all I can tell you is what I've experienced and how convinced I am that solar is the way to go. Okay.
Good,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
all. I appreciate your help. Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Pam.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Pam.
That was great. Very helpful.
Yeah, really.
And the way to do it is to get grants. If we can do that, I
Yeah.
have a database, a grant database, so I could possibly find a grant source.
That'd be great.
And I think too, well, and so, yeah, you know, there may be more grants available later this year, hopefully, that we can look into. I want to get back to Pam. I'm going to get back with her, the name of the company that did their energy audit, and see if we could get them to do an audit for us and what it would cost, and
Yeah.
then see if there's anything from Faith in Place that could help match that a little bit, and we'll get started there. I want to be aware of the time, so it's 1:15. There are a few other things I wanted to cover today while we're all together.
Jeff, real quick, when you're talking about money, there may be some of the things through Western Yearly Meeting that would apply to.
Oh, good idea.
It wouldn't be $20,000, but
But still, every penny helps.
Maybe it would pay for our dishwasher. I don't know.
right.
Maybe.
Right.
I mean, if
Or an audit.
Or an
Yeah,
audit.
yeah, I was saying about the audit.
You'd have to look at to see what the parameters are, but there are funds
Okay.
for meetings. So
Does FUM give money as well, or just
No.
Western Meeting?
FUM needs money. They don't
They
give
need
money.
money. Oh, they'll give it. Oh,
Yeah.
All right. One thing I want to mention right away is Anita and I are both are co-clerks for Peace and Social Justice Committee as of last Saturday.
Yeah.
congratulations.
Surprise.
My condolences.
Anne is going to be clerk of ministry and council, and so she had to vacate her spot on Peace and Social Justice. So Anita and I, Peace and Social Justice meets the second Saturday of every month at 9:30 in the morning. We are going to move the Green Team meeting to be right after that. So,
Okay, so we would be meeting on the 11th.
correct. So starting in February, this meeting will be the second Saturday of every month at, I'm going to say 10:30.
Okay.
10:30. Okay.
And when I send out the Zoom invite, I'm just going to create a Zoom invite that covers both meetings. So
Okay.
Anita and I can just stay on the same Zoom, and then, you know, obviously if people join early, that's fine. Um, Tip in the last couple of years, peace and social justice there's not been a lot there. Anita and I think we're going to get some more things happening there. But so just for your information, going forward, these meetings will be second Saturday of every month at.
I'm gonna ask a question because I'm a calendar freak. You do know that April 8th is the day before Easter.
Say
Would
that.
that be an issue?
Say that again.
April 8th, which would be your April meeting, is the day before Easter. And I also can tell you that the second Saturday in June, Scott and I will probably be working with the Sugar Grove bicentennial event. That is there.
Okay. I don't see an issue with it being the day before Easter.
Okay,
Okay,
just a heads up on that one.
So that little bit of information, and then I wanted to mention also, or ask you guys. So I sent out, instead of bombarding people with emails a couple times a week with, hey, here's this piece of legislation, or hey, here's this article. I kind of summarized things into one email that I sent out to everyone. Hopefully you got it.
That was good.
Yeah, and if you like that format, that is my goal. So if there's something you think, hey, we should, here's an event that the green team would be interested in or whatever, and it's a month or so down the road, forward it to me and I'll add it to this list and we'll send it out each month. And that way people get one email with all the information. I'll probably also start posting that on our website so that people have access to it even outside of us.
Well, I mean, that's kind of one of the charges right now anyway of peace and social justice. So, I mean, that is one of the things that sort of segues here, you know, and one of the things that I really kind of want us to get better at with peace and social justice is providing a little bit more information and education out there to the larger meeting.
Yeah, and I think we'll get there. And then right now, tentative date for the spring hike is going to be April 15th.
okay.
Right, April 15th. We were right.
And where do you envision going?
So I envision going now. What I think I'm going to do is, so I rejoined a couple of land trusts that do some good work. One is one of their properties with the Sycamore Land Trust, which is based out of Bloomington. They've restored a wetland area that I'm pretty interested in. I think what I'm going to do is put together a list of about 3 different properties and then do kind of a survey thing with all the members here of the green team and put it to a vote and see of those 3, where are most people interested in going instead of me just saying, hey, we're going to go there. So I'll do that and I'll try to get that out by the 1st of February. So we can pick where we're going to go and get it scheduled and start at mentioning it to the meeting at large. And then one other thing I wanted to go over, Ellen I'm assuming still Garden Club is kind of ad hoc for 2023.
Yeah, there's really no definite plans. We're trying to kind of keep our text thread open and share anything through that, just informally.
What and I haven't spoken to Becky, but what I had thought was, Anita and Laura know I have considered maybe renaming this group to an Earth Care group so that it compasses the green team stuff of trying to make the meeting house more efficient, but also more environmental or climate awareness things. And that could include things from the Garden club too.
Mhm.
That's-
So Ellen,
That's-
since you're, I think you've been to every one of these meetings, as the spring gets closer, if there are garden things that you want to communicate through this group,
Okay,
I mean, keep that thread going. Laura and I are part of the thread too. I think we all are probably. But we can talk about those things here and plan as well.
that would be nice to pick up some of that, because I
Mhm.
hate to totally lose the garden group.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
probably lean pretty heavy on you for some of that because Laura and we're more vegetable gardening people. I mean, Laura, I don't know. You're planning on doing some more flower stuff this year, but
Yeah, but that's like sprinkled in among the vegetables, because really the emphasis is more vegetables for us.
Mhm.
Ellen, like I know with Garden Club, we only got involved in it sort of towards the tail end last year, but sometimes you'd have talks about pruning methods or whatever.
Mhm.
Anything like that, as long as we know ahead of time and we can schedule it, we can do that through
Work
this.
it in with other things. That sounds good.
I just don't want to be in charge of it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where we're at now. Becky wasn't able to continue and kind of nobody's stepped forward, but I think, I will miss it. But if we could pick it up in maybe
Yeah.
a different form. Anita too has been very active in the garden group and
Mhm. Yeah, and there's some other like topics that I'd kind of like to focus on too, that sort of, mesh the two. Like food waste is a bugaboo of mine. I'd like to kind of talk about food waste,
Mhm.
Um, so, and then this thing that I think, did we decide? Well, I don't know if I'm going to be prepared for the February meeting. Yeah, I could probably do it. This QEW presentation thing that I want to bring to the meeting, because it goes along perfectly with the pollinator garden too. It was a prairie restoration, and the QEW member that did it and provided the presentation, I mean, he shared all of his slides and the script for all of the slides, so we can do the whole thing for the meeting, and it's really impressive. Like if you're a gardener at all, man, you're chomping at the bit to get going by the end of that presentation. It's just pretty amazing. So
Is that
anyway,
something, is that something you could be ready to do around Earth Day?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's a good idea,
Earth
because
Day is, hold on. What's the
yeah,
end?
what
It's in April.
Wait, I got it.
20.
It is the 22nd of April.
Oh, it's 20. Okay.
Yeah, it's
What-
late. It's late, but it
Okay.
is the fourth. It is the fourth Saturday. One of my friends always likes to celebrate Earth Day on the at the spring equinox.
Mm-hmm.
She really thinks that the equinox is a better time for it. So,
Well, I was thinking, administering council, we're usually looking, there are certain Sundays of the year Phil isn't there. And so I could probably put in for the Sunday closest to Earth Day for you to do that.
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
great.
I'd like to vet the presentation with this group, before
Yeah.
we sort of put that on the schedule. I mean, I love it, but this is kind of like right up my alley. But yeah, I'd like to vet the whole presentation with this group and see what you all think.
Could you
I think that time of year too, it'll really hit a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for
it would
sure.
hit it. And just so you know, April's one of those fifth Sunday things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That might be the good time then.
Well, fifth Sunday, it would mean that there are 3 Sundays that would definitely be Phil, and then
No, Phil will not do the fifth Sunday, will he?
no, he won't. He'll do that's
We'll talk about it, ministry and council, and
they'll talk. We just
we'll
okay.
find Sunday for it.
I'm a calendar, as you can see, I'm a calendar freak and have calendars. Yeah.
Keep us right side up, Sue.
Okay, well, you don't realize how many calendars I have. And there are 3 of them right there, and there's one behind me. There's 4 of them.
Well, for various clients, she needs them.
So yeah, Anita, let's plan for February for you to present
Okay.
this group that presentation to vet it, as you said. And then in the February ministry and council meeting, I'll see which Sunday we can work that in as
Okay.
close to Earth Day as
That
possible.
sounds like a good plan. Yeah.
I don't think we'd want, I'm pretty sure they're going to want to keep Fifth Sunday still unprogrammed, so that probably won't
Yeah.
be.
Well, and this presentation, being if we do that the end of April, that's also going to tie in really well with our pollinator garden waking up as well in the spring. So, and there's more to be done there. I mean, we just kind of got a start on that last year, sort of got some of the base plantings in and stuff. And, one of the things that there's a goal of mine is I want to add, to your point, Laura, I want to add a few vegetables in there, easy things, because I think that would be great for the kids, for Kara to kind of explore with the kids as well. And yeah, so that's kind of in my back pocket on that too. I have a couple of ideas of a trellis with some beans, with some pretty runner beans that have pretty flowers that are pollinator friendly. And then imagine that you get to eat from it, so I just think that would be a cool thing, pretty and functional as well. So
Yeah, I like that idea.
yeah. And maybe seeing it through the windows when you're in the meeting house, you can see all that beauty through the windows. So anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Has a meeting ever considered a composting station?
Well, not officially. That's something that I've raised as well. I kind of had this idea of purchasing a bucket for everyone that they could bring on a Sunday, empty into the compost bin, take their bucket home and fill it up for the next week to bring. So, but that conversation hasn't been had outside of a couple of groups. So, I'm kind of trying to figure out where to go with that actually.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah, I know back in Evanston, that was a big part of it, and people brought their kitchen waste in. And we had 2 plastic composting things where you turn a crank and you're able to, so it became something that the Sunday school participated in.
Right. Well, I mean, one that I had made, I'm not handy enough to make it myself, but I had the idea and had somebody handy make it for me, is just out of pallets. Now you have to make sure the pallet hasn't been imbued with any yucky stuff, but you can find those, and it's made out of pallets and essentially chicken wire, and it works fantastic. I mean, somebody handy from the meeting could make it easy out of pallets that we can just scavenge, so anyway.
Well, and I was encouraged, like I said, there in Pam's pictures of their meeting house, they had one right by the meeting house. It's right at 11. There's one other thing I wanted to go over. I'm going to share my screen again. I am looking for volunteers for different months to either bring a reflection to this meeting or for a green tip essay article for the newsletter. Because I found last year I did most of the newsletter things. Carol did one. And I'm finding that if it's left up to me, there are probably going to be several months where we just don't have one. But again, I think with spring coming and with us starting to plan things, and again, Ellen, this could be a gardening tip. It doesn't have to necessarily be a recycling or composting, whatever, although those are great. But if anybody wants to volunteer to do some newsletter articles, let's sign up for that.
Is your calendar, so I see January says NA, but are you saying that the January, so I guess I'm trying to figure out so February is for a February article or a submission in February for March? See what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, January, the deadline is already passed, right?
Right. So there won't be anything in the February newsletter.
I think, isn't the deadline the 25th of every month?
It's around the 20th.
Yeah, it's a little bit earlier
Okay.
now. Yeah, yeah.
I can't remember. I'm the one that said it way back in the day, but I know it's somewhere.
So in other words, Jeff, so February, you're saying that would be the submission then, right?
For March,
For March.
Right.
Okay, got it. Okay.
but the reflection is up for our meeting. I'll do the February reflection.
Okay.
I
And-
can,
oh,
I was
go
gonna say,
ahead.
I can do the March reflection too.
Do you think, Anita, and not to put too much on you, but as part of this um, message you're going to bring to the meeting in April, do you think maybe a little blurb about it for the newsletter in April also?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's fine.
So,
I'll do the reflection in April unless Anita wants to do it.
No, thanks.
She's got enough on her plate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you keep doing stuff.
I got a full plate.
Yeah.
so you would need to make sure I stay straight on this. So you would need to have it ready in March for the April newsletter.
Right.
I could probably do does anybody do the February newsletter or March?
Uh,
Or no, are we too late?
well, yeah, and again, the way I wrote this, it's kind of confusing, but
Okay,
if you write it for February, it's really going to be the March newsletter. We
okay.
have from today until February 20th to submit the article for the March newsletter.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
I
if you
could
really
do-
wanted one for February, you could ask Beth, contact her, like, because today's the 21st. You could
Yeah.
contact her and ask her if you could write one and submit it like within a day or so. And
Yeah,
that
I
might be
already-
okay.
I already told her we wouldn't have one for this.
Oh,
month.
okay, okay.
All right, okay.
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 So the months are the submission months.
Yeah, maybe Jeff, you can change that heading to newsletter submission. Yeah. I think that would help us remember what we've signed up for.
So-
I should be able to do February submission.
Okay. And we obviously we don't have to do the whole year. Anyone interested in a March submission for the April newsletter? If not, I can do
No.
one.
Now, hang on, you mean an April
That's
submission?
Anita.
Correct, April for May.
Right.
If not, I can take that one and then we'll say we're good through May.
Sounds good.
Okay. That's all I really wanted to cover today, but I'm thinking for our February meeting, things like the compost bins, I'd kind of like us to get a few project-y kind of things that we want to try to accomplish this spring. This is my corporate stuff coming through, but what do we want to try to do pollinator wise and all of that? Let's think about that between now and our February meeting and then write it down in February and kind of set a goal on when we want to try to do this stuff.
Are all of our meetings going to be recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I won't be here for the February meeting. We'll be on vacation.
Okay.
But I do want to hear Anita's thing, so.
Yeah, I might this summer, maybe we'll have one or two meetings in person this summer if people do. We'll just play that by ear, but for now, just assume it'll always be on Zoom and be recorded.
Okay,
Jeff, I had one thing about the dates. The second Saturday in March and November, our administrative council and Western Yearly Meeting board meetings. Hopefully some of you will go to administrative council. That would be in the afternoon though. Board meetings are in the morning, and I'm clerk of the outreach board, so I would be going to those, and I don't know if anybody else on here is on a board or not.
I'm on a board, I'm clerk of a board, so I've got, but,
So you won't be attending that.
yeah, right.
What months did you say again, Dinah?
March and November, the second Saturday in March and November are always administrative council for the yearly meeting. And they've, in order to eliminate coming to Plainfield for so many meetings, they've started having the board meetings that morning so that people don't have to come out another day. So those days are full of Western Yearly Meeting things.
Okay. Alrighty, that's good to know. I'll make a note of that. Anything else we want to discuss? We're a little bit after 11. If not, I'll type up some minutes and get it out probably by tomorrow and get the video posted, and we'll start 2023.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Great day.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.